Ian, thank you so much for hopping on a chat with me. I love to do inspirational interviews with people who I find inspiring. And I reckon if I find them inspiring, someone else out there is going to find them inspiring. And my whole mission in life is to get people moving and grooving and feeling good with themselves, despite whatever else is going on in the world. We have gone through a pandemic together, and I have been online training you. And I'm forever grateful of having you in my life twice a week, because it's an energy exchange. So I just need you to know that the energy that we exchange 2 times a week has kept me alive feeling. And I feel like I have a purpose, knowing that I have you on the other end of the computer, willing to do whatever I tell you to do.
Freddie, I have done almost everything you've asked in the last 3 years.
I know, it's amazing. Best client. But what makes you remarkable is how you've never canceled, you're never late, you show up like energy-wise, you never complain, you have this insane can-do attitude that I have never seen in the thousands of clients that I've trained online and in person. So with that being said, why, how, when did this happen in your life?
Well, we started working together, I guess, at a local spin class. You were one of the instructors, and I used to go to various classes during the week, and there were various instructors who had different styles. And to be honest, at first I found your style so overbearing, I was intimidated, because you were always pointing out people. But as the course of time evolved, I began to really enjoy them and saw them as a challenge. And then I remember plucking up the courage to come speak to you after the class to find out about your personal training. And you were very generous with your assessment of me. And we then started working out together and did that in 2 local gyms. And then you went to Mexico. Yeah, I think you told me you were going for a few weeks, and that was more than a year ago.
Almost 2 years.
We then pivoted to doing it online, and I have had similar sentiments during COVID of really looking forward to our 2 sessions a week, because it gave me a sense of purpose, but also gave me a sense of fulfillment, that in the hour, I know you giving me all you have, and the least I can do in return is offer you that same back, and respecting how much effort you put into your training sessions. It just gave me the impetus to always want to work as hard as I could. There were days, as you know, because I got relocated into the garage, which is not a closed garage, in the winter, when I had toques and gloves and everything, but I start getting psyched up about an hour before the class. And I know I want to do as well as I can every class. And sometimes I've let myself down. I probably let you down from time to time. But my attitude is, if I cannot give an hour at 100%, then there's something wrong with me. And as challenging as I find the classes, when they're over, I feel at my peak, whatever that means, but I feel at my peak. And I'm grateful for the connection, and I'm grateful for the fact that I am probably stronger now than I've ever been, because there's a method to your training. And prior to training with you, I used to improvise myself and probably did things wrong because I was always getting injured. So I've learned a lot in terms of the physical being of my body, and you've introduced me to some yoga and some meditation and some thinking, and I'm looking all the time for a more holistic approach to life. And I'm at the very beginning of the journey, but I wouldn't choose another one.
But you're there. I mean, as I ventured into Mexico, you've been with me, and you've probably recognized that my training style has softened a little bit. Like, I push you. I definitely push you. but I'm always like, listen to your body as we're warming up, as we're cooling down. So I'm so thankful for your willingness to try new things, right? So before you had that courage to come up to me in spin class, you were a bit of a cardio junkie, I would call it. Would you agree
Right.
with that term?
Yeah, I only knew how to measure my fitness based on cardio. So I would spin 3 times a week. I would run once a week. I would bike once a week. And pretty much 6 days a week, I was doing very similar things. And I've never been one who's enjoyed stretching or warming up. So when you reach your mid to late 50s, things start catching up with you. And I was forever spending time undergoing physiotherapy for a hamstring or a quad or an Achilles tendon or an ankle or a back. I haven't eradicated that completely, but I've been a lot more protected in terms of the approach that you offer. So I only knew cardio. That was my gatekeeper. And I've subsequently learned that you can still get really strong and become functional without doing cardio 6 times a week. And so I'm appreciative of learning those things and understanding that there are different ways to train and there are ways that are smarter than others. And I guess I regret having not met someone like you when I was 40 years old, because I would probably be even stronger now and have a more acceptable approach to holistic training. But it's never too late.
It's never too late. And we have to just look at facts, right? When you start is when you start. So what have you recognized, have you noticed anything change since you started strength training? Like in your mentality, in your body? I guess
Yeah, I guess I got over the lust for cardio, and I find it challenging. I'd never ever done weights before. I'd never done any strength training. I'd always basically put on my runners and gone for a run or gone for a bike ride. And so it's understanding I guess, how your body is composed in terms of different muscle groups and the need to be as balanced as possible. And so what I'm also learning is you don't have to be, sweating profusely at the end of a training session to have worked hard. And there's still so much to learn, but I guess I feel more at peace with myself physically than I ever have before, because I know I'm getting a balanced approach to training, and that's very important.
So cool to hear that. That's great. Yeah. That's what my training's all about, balancing that body. Okay, so let's pivot to working out at home, because you worked out in a gym for like 2 years with me, and then we went into your garage. What are the pros and what are the cons? Would you say, if someone was like, I can't work out at home, it's just not for me, I can't do it, how would you try and convince them otherwise?
Yeah, I think it took some getting used to, because obviously a physical presence is a powerful thing. So once you get over that lack of a physical presence with a trainer, I think there are so many advantages to training at home. For instance, you don't have to go drive and look for parking at the studio. You don't have to allocate 25 or 30 minutes to get there. And so it's convenience of being at home. And for those people who've been working at home as well, you have the best of both worlds. You work from home, you train at home. I think I've augmented the training with you twice a week with other activities, because I think it's also important to get out. But I certainly don't regret how we pivoted your training from in studio to at home, because I still feel the intensity of the training. I still feel the connection, albeit different, but I'm still as committed to the training now as I was when we were meeting in the studio twice a week. So for me, I think the adjustment was finding the right place in the house and I got moved from room to room as my collection of equipment grew and grew. And now I'm housed in the garage through all seasons, and you adapt to it. And when it was below freezing or when it was 40 degrees during the heat dome, you make the most of it. And I still think I'm blessed to have the ability to train twice a week with a professional. And so the downsides of weather or of lack of space just become irrelevant in terms of the wider picture of the world.
Yeah, cool. And as a trainer, to be honest, it's easier for me than being in the gym. I mean, I definitely miss that energy exchange in person for sure. But when you're sharing a gym with tons of people, personal trainers and their clients, what you have in the program isn't always available. Whereas I know what equipment you have, I know the space you have, so I can prepare perfectly. So it's a win-win for trainer and client, I feel, in the training at home. I mean, just like you said, you have to adapt to the things for sure, and you still need to get out of the house. I'm not saying it should be your everyday movement practice. Now, with strength training, there has been challenges, right? Ian loves, for anyone that's interested, Ian loves challenges. And that's something that we have definitely had to encourage Jenny to do, because I'm like, you're stronger, look at you, you can lift 25 pounds overhead. And you're like, but I need to measure it. You need to measure it. And so I'm like, okay, Ian's requesting, he wants me to challenge him. Great. What type of challenge do you want? Well, I want to be able to plank for 10 minutes. Okay, let's.
I think I regret that now.
Okay, Ian, we're going to plank for 10 minutes. So we did about 2.5 months of prep for that. And when you accomplished it, Tell me the feeling. Explain how that felt.
Well, before I answer the question, I want to say I was half joking when I knew about the 10-minute plank, and then I realized that there was no turning back. And there were times, because we trained Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I think Tuesday was planking day. Monday evening would roll around and I would think, oh my goodness, we've got a 7-minute plank tomorrow. And it got into my mind. But what that did was it actually made me more motivated. When I told friends and family that I was working towards a 10-minute plank, I guarantee not one person believed I would ever be able to do it, nor did I. When I did the 10-minute plank, I felt so overjoyed with having done it, but more importantly, I was overjoyed with the partnership we had created, that you, through your coaching style and technique, had basically allowed me the opportunity to do it. Because I think this was more a head issue than a physical issue. It was basically through those minutes building up to the 10, there were times when I thought, I'm not only going to let myself down, but I'm going to let you down if I suddenly collapse on my mat. And it just made me more and more determined not to mess up. And so it became a focal point in terms of being able to do it. But I sort of see that as a reflection of a wider purpose, that if you put your mind to something and you are training with a professional to do it, it's a cliche, but you can do almost anything.
Yeah.
I think now if I try to do a 10-minute plank, I probably wouldn't be able to, because my mindset isn't right. But when I told people I had achieved it, there was I had a sense of real pride that it was something that I'd set out to do. I trained for it and did it, because prior to this, I've run marathons and half marathons, but I never really trained properly because I wasn't sure how to train. So I used to just wing it. This was a methodical approach that allowed me to do something which I would never have believed I could ever do. And now I've done it.
Yeah, you did it. And okay, I wanna leg onto this, because I know when I work out and I'm training for something, a half marathon, or even just at the gym and I'm lifting a heavier weight, I have this like coaching voice inside of me. do you have like a coaching voice, or like what gets you through those last few reps? What gets you through that last minute in that 10-minute plank? Like what's happening up here?
It's actually your voice in my head, which sometimes drives me mad. When I know there are times when I'm not performing at my best, and you have a very persuasive but polite and firm way of getting me back in the game. And so it was more a case of, as I said earlier, I didn't want to let you down or me down, but it was just the ability to know that I had made a commitment to do something. And that was very important to me. I'd made a commitment to challenge myself with your instruction to do something which was very difficult. And so I guess my voice was saying, you don't want to let Jenny down, you don't want to let yourself down, but then also hearing you say, you know, you can do it, put your mind to it. And some of the phrases that you use during those sessions, I use now for doing other things. And so it was, as I say, it was more a head game than an arm and leg and core game. And
Absolutely.
I think that probably relates to all types of training, that if you modify what you're doing in order to be able to achieve something, you will be able to do it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And you're not the first client that has said that. Like, because I always ask like clients, I'm like, you know, how did you complete the growth grind? Or how did you, and they're like, your voice was in my head. You can do anything for 10 minutes. Come on, you're better than that. All those little, like, it really sticks in there, right?
You do have the ability to know when people aren't giving 100% effort. And I think that's admirable that you, because I see each class as a partnership. I'm the student wanting to be a functional athlete, you're the teacher, and I'm guided. I've made a commitment to follow your instruction. And when you follow the instruction, the results are good. And that's important.
So cool. So cool hearing this. Have you noticed that you've gained since starting strength training or training? Okay, can I ask you a question? When did you start your cardio journey? Like, have you always worked out? High school? I mean, have you always moved your body?
Pretty much in elementary school, I was on the track team, and I used to do cross country, and then ran in high school, never competitively, and at university. And as long as I can remember, running was always my primary form of exercise. And I would love nothing more than to just, as I say, put on my runners and go into the forest and just run as long as I could. And I've completed a few marathons and many half marathons, and my goal is to get back in it again. I recently was diagnosed with early stages of Parkinson's, so I have a few more challenges in terms of getting back to where I was, but I'm confident after having done a 10-minute plank that I'll be able to run a 5-kilometer race or a 10-kilometer race, and that's my sort of goal. But I'm more respectful now that those challenges need more work and other forms of intervention in order to make them happen. But because I know I'm able to do things that I never thought I could do, the only obstacles in my way now are obstacles that I'm allowing to be in my way. And so that's my goal now, is to overcome those challenges and to make new goals.
Exactly. And it is so much easier when you have like a cheerleader and a professional working with you, you know, whether it be anything in your life. I mean, when you have someone else holding you accountable and being that cheerleader and being like, you can do that, and saying those words,
right,
it really helps you, because it's hard to do stuff alone. It really is, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting you said, I've never missed a class. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but you know, in 3 years, I've never missed a class because I don't want to. There's too much to gain. And, you know, you learn something from every interaction. And so it's too important to let it go, or
Absolutely.
not to show up and give it all you got.
Absolutely.
So there are opportunities, and you must seize them and make the best of them.
Totally. Totally. And I know it's hypothetical to say, but like, do you think if you never approached me and didn't start strength training because it wasn't really your thing and you just kept going to spin classes and running, where do you think you would be today? Like, would you be a different person than you are today? And would you be able to face the new challenges that are coming into your life?
I would be in a different place because I was prone to getting injured because, as I said, I was so cardio dominant without really listening to my body. And when I think back over sort of when you keep making the same errors, the same results happen, no matter how many times you try it. So I think I would probably have stronger quads and maybe hamstrings, but the rest of me would be pathetic. So
your glutes would be nowhere as strong as they are right now.
Exactly, because I had no idea. As I said, I used to just basically lace up and head out.
Yeah.
So there was no preparation, there was no cooling down, there was no stretching, and it's short-sighted. I once read an article saying stretching was not that important, and I stuck to that because it was just the easier thing to do.
I'm sure there was details around that statement.
Yeah,
where
which
it was
I
like,
never
it's
read.
not so important at the beginning, or it's not so important. Yeah. I'm sure there's some small
Right.
print.
So I think had I not started training with Ultimate Females, which I find
I had to. But I feel like you're training with Jenny. Like I still have online male clients. I actually have an in-person male client here. I love working with males. That you gentlemen work differently. Right. They just do.
So yes, we've been in a different place, and I sort of see this probably as long as you want to have me as a client. Just so many opportunities in order to develop my ability to be a functional athlete, and I'm not even sure what that means anymore, because I just think where I am physically now is a place I've never been before, and this, as I said, is the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, it is totally the beginning. Okay, bonus question. What's your favorite exercise and what's your least favorite exercise?
My favorite exercise is the last second of the 10-minute plank, because you've achieved everything. I'm not sure I have a favorite. I know the ones that I can execute well become favorites because not that they're easier physically, but because mentally you can just do them. My least favorite is when we're doing sets of push-ups and you are not doing them with me because you're on your knees, and you say, "Come on, push up! Come on, push up!" Which reminds me of something. One day when we were working at the gym, and I think there was a fundraiser for a charity, and your clients became your instructors.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed putting you through your paces for 10 minutes. That was excellent.
So train the trainer. That was so fun.
I guess what I've done is I've basically seen every exercise you give me as a challenge, and some are more difficult than others. But in terms of, there aren't any I can think of now that I say, I hope we do those in our next session, or I hope we don't do them, because I just see it as part of a plan that you have in order to make things as balanced as possible. Yeah,
definitely. I'm happy you trust me with that. That's awesome. Yes, Train the Trainer was so much fun. And I have to let you know that I am currently working on my upper body strength because I have to be balanced. I have to. I can do a few push-ups now. Yeah, I can do a few push-ups. I can probably do 5. I'll show you tomorrow.
All right.
I don't want to ruin my hair and everything right now.
I understand.
Ian, this was absolutely insightful and beautiful. for me to hear everything you had to say. And I hope that this inspires someone to get a little bit more motivated and make a healthier choice for themselves, and understand that pushing yourself is going to it's gonna domino affect your whole life and your whole attitude towards life.
Well, it's interesting because not only do I hear your voice when I'm training, but I also hear your voice when I reach for a bag of chips or a Score Blizzard or an extra glass of wine. I can hear you with disapproval. So you've also not only had an impact on my strength training, but also on my diet. So
awesome. I'm pretty lenient though, you have to admit. Like I've never pushed you. I sneak in little questions here and there, like, oh, what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for dinner? What'd you do this weekend? Because I don't like the all or nothing approach, right? It's a balanced life, it's a balanced body. So it's all about enjoying when you can enjoy, but also realizing that you need to nourish your body 99% of the time.
I do remember when I first started working out with you, you asked for a food log from a few days, and I especially altered the family meals to make it look as good as possible, but you didn't approve. You said, too much sugar. You're eating too much fruit. What's going on?
You're vegetarian. And I said, I need to see more vegetables. And you were like in shock. You were like, I'm a vegetarian? And you're telling me to eat more vegetables. I was like, yeah, where are all the vegetables?
There were lots of beans.
Yeah, lots of beans, lots of legumes, which is fine, which is good. But more vegetables, always, always vegetables on every plate. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, boom. Anywho, this has been swell. Do you have anything that you would like to add to perhaps inspire someone?
I think if you're not doing any training, start tomorrow. Don't put it off. And it doesn't have to be so hard that it's uncomfortable. I think what I've learned from you is you understand the pace and development of the exercise program. And I always feel safe and secure knowing that I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not going to damage myself because you're a professional. And so anyone who feels intimidated with a one-on-one class online or one-on-one in person, I just think all you got to do is try your hardest and know that what you're doing is good for you. It's good for your longevity. It's good for your way of life. It's good for your way of thinking. I can't think of any downside to it. It's an investment of an hour or two a week that you will never, ever regret. And I feel the strongest I've ever felt in my life. And as I said earlier, this is just the beginning of the journey. So as we get into our senior years, then it's probably too late to start doing this. So I regret not having started sooner, but I'm now fully immersed and love the challenge. And I know when I do something that's not in our sessions, I always feel that I need to tell you what I've done. When I recently ran my longest distance this year, the first thing I want to do is tell you, because I know that you care about your clients. And
so much.
It's a form of gratitude that we give back to you to show us that we're taking your messaging seriously.
It literally, I have goosebumps right now. It fills my whole body up with joy and fulfillment when I get any message from a client, whether it be good, bad, success, failure, anything, just that communication with me. So, I mean, I do remember you sending me a picture of 9 chips in a bowl. Like, this is all I'm allowing myself, just so you know.
Well, for some reason, that brand of chips does the nutritional breakdown based on 9 chips. So I thought I'm going to measure this out properly.
I love that. That is so funny. Oh, Ian, such a pleasure, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. And I thank you for your time and your openness.
You're welcome. Can I come back as a guest when I've done the 20-minute plank?
Oh my gosh, yes. We should just film the 20-minute plank and have the interview while you're doing the plank. That would be a good distraction, eh?
There'll be lots of groaning and grunting.
Oh, so incredibly proud of you, Ian. Thank you for allowing me this gift of training you. So thankful.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.